Tom was working the evening shift at the luxurious Grand Lux Hotel. A young, soft-spoken man, he was known for his polite smile and helpful nature. He was attending to a family staying in the penthouse suite, a wealthy couple with their baby, when he suddenly heard the mother's panicked scream from the hallway. Tom's heart raced as he sprinted towards their suite, not knowing what was wrong. When he arrived, he saw the parents hovering anxiously over their baby in a high chair. The child was gasping, her face turning red as she struggled to breathe. Tom's mind raced, but he didn't hesitate. Moving swiftly, he picked up the baby, positioned her carefully, and performed the life-saving maneuver he'd learned in first aid training. Within moments, the baby coughed up a small piece of food and began to breathe normally, and the room filled with relieved tears and gratitude. The baby's mother hugged her child close, her eyes welling up as she looked at Tom with profound relief and gratitude. "You saved her," she whispered, her voice shaky with emotion. The father, stunned and grateful, thanked Tom repeatedly, shaking his hand firmly. Tom felt overwhelmed by their gratitude but stayed modest, saying he was just glad the baby was okay. The mother insisted on knowing his name and thanking him properly, but Tom gently excused himself to let them settle. As he returned to the staff room, he couldn't shake the feeling of how close they'd come to tragedy. That night, Tom reflected on the experience, feeling both relief and pride that he'd been able to help the family in their moment of crisis. The next morning, Tom was surprised to receive a call from the front desk asking him to visit the penthouse suite. He felt a mix of excitement and nervousness as he made his way up. When he arrived, he found the parents, Mr. and Mrs. Andrews, waiting for him with smiles and a small breakfast set out. They invited him to sit with them, insisting he join them for coffee. As they talked, Mr. Andrews expressed how grateful he and his wife were for his quick response. Mrs. Andrews shared how they'd been up most of the night, thinking of what could have happened if Tom hadn't been there. Tom felt humbled by their gratitude, though he still downplayed his actions, reassuring them that he was just doing his job. After the breakfast, Mr. Andrews presented Tom with an envelope, thanking him once more for his brave and swift action. Tom was hesitant, feeling that he didn't deserve any additional reward. But Mr. Andrews assured him it was just a small token of their appreciation. Inside the envelope was a check for a substantial amount, more than Tom had ever seen. Tom was speechless, struggling to process the generous gift. He tried to return the check, feeling that he hadn't done anything extraordinary, but the couple insisted. "You gave us back our child," Mr. Andrews said, his voice filled with emotion. Realizing that their gratitude was genuine, Tom finally accepted, though he still felt a bit overwhelmed by the unexpected reward. News of Tom's heroic act quickly spread through the hotel staff. His co-workers were proud of him, and some even teased him about becoming a hotel hero. The management team called him into their office, commending him for his quick action and offering him a promotion to a supervisory position. For Tom, who had started at the hotel as a bellhop, this was a dream come true. Though he was excited about the promotion, Tom remained grounded. He didn't want the recognition to change who he was. He continued to perform his duties with the same dedication, quietly grateful for the new opportunities but focused on his work as always. A few days later, Mr. Andrews invited Tom to meet him outside of work, saying he wanted to discuss a possible opportunity. Curious, Tom agreed and met Mr. Andrews at a quiet café. There, Mr. Andrews explained that he wanted to help Tom pursue his career aspirations, whatever they might be. "You've shown us kindness and bravery," he said. "Let us do something meaningful for you." Tom was taken aback by the offer, admitting that he'd always dreamed of owning his own business but had never thought it possible. Mr. Andrews encouraged him to think it over, suggesting that he could help Tom achieve his dream. Tom left the meeting feeling both excited and overwhelmed, his mind racing with possibilities. Back at the hotel, Tom couldn't stop thinking about Mr. Andrews' offer. It felt surreal that someone believed in him enough to support his dreams. Over the next few days, he shared his excitement with his close friends and family, who encouraged him to seriously consider it. Tom realized that this could be a life-changing opportunity. He met with Mr. Andrews again and shared his vision for a small cafe he'd dreamed of opening in his neighborhood. Mr. Andrews listened intently, nodding with approval and offering valuable advice. By the end of their meeting, Mr. Andrews agreed to provide the initial funding, saying that he believed in Tom's dedication and kindness. Tom felt deeply grateful, knowing this was a rare opportunity. With Mr. Andrews' support, Tom began planning his cafe. He spent his free time researching, budgeting, and developing a vision for the cozy, welcoming space he wanted to create. The hotel staff noticed his newfound energy and cheered him on, offering their own ideas and encouragement. When he finally shared his plans with Mr. Andrews, he was amazed by how enthusiastic and supportive the millionaire was. Mr. Andrews connected Tom with a network of business contacts, including an experienced cafe manager who became Tom's mentor. Each step brought Tom closer to making his dream a reality, and he felt incredibly grateful for the guidance he was receiving. The cafe was finally ready to open. Named Tom's Corner, it reflected everything Tom valued: warmth, community, and a sense of home. On opening day, Mr. and Mrs. Andrews visited, proudly watching as Tom welcomed his first customers. The cafe quickly filled up with friends, hotel staff, and local residents, all eager to support him. Tom was filled with pride as he served coffee, chatted with guests, and saw his dream come to life. Mr. Andrews congratulated him, reminding Tom that his kindness had led to this moment. Tom thanked him again, feeling the weight of the journey he had taken since that day in the hotel. With each passing day, the cafe grew more popular. Tom's hard work and genuine personality attracted a loyal customer base. People came not only for the coffee but for the atmosphere he had created. Tom often thought back to the moment he saved the Andrews baby and how that single act had set him on this incredible path. He continued to work at the hotel part-time, both out of loyalty and as a reminder of his roots. His co-workers frequently visited the cafe, proud of what he had achieved. Tom was grateful for their support, knowing that they had all played a role in his success. As his business flourished, Tom continued to stay connected with Mr. Andrews, who became a mentor and friend. Mr. Andrews often shared business advice, helping Tom navigate challenges and grow his cafe. Tom was grateful for his guidance, recognizing that the Andrews family had become more than just benefactors, they were part of his journey. One day, Mr. Andrews invited Tom to a charity event, asking him to share his story with others. Nervous but honored, Tom agreed, hoping that his experience could inspire others to help those around them. His story touched the audience, and by the end of the night, Tom had made even more connections to support his business. At the charity event, Tom's story resonated deeply with the attendees. Many came up to him, offering words of encouragement and expressing how inspiring his journey was. Among them was a local business owner who offered to collaborate with Tom by supplying fresh pastries for his cafe. Tom was thrilled at the opportunity, knowing it would add even more charm and quality to his cafe's offerings. The partnership flourished, with new customers visiting Tom's Corner to try the fresh pastries and enjoy the cozy atmosphere. Tom's humble cafe was becoming a beloved spot in the neighborhood, and he couldn't believe how far he had come. The Andrews family continued to visit, always reminding him that he deserved every bit of his success. Tom's reputation grew beyond his local community. People from neighboring towns began visiting Tom's Corner, curious to experience the cafe that everyone was talking about. Some were intrigued by his story, while others simply loved the warm environment he had created. Tom made sure to greet each customer with a smile, making them feel welcome. One day, a popular local magazine featured an article on Tom and his cafe. The story highlighted his journey from hotel worker to cafe owner, sharing how a single act of kindness had transformed his life. After the article was published, Tom saw an increase in customers, and his cafe became even more popular. Tom felt grateful, knowing his story was touching people's hearts. With the cafe thriving, Tom started giving back to the community in his own way. He organized a monthly event at Tom's Corner where he served free coffee and pastries to anyone in need. He called it Kindness Day and encouraged his customers to join in by donating to local charities. People appreciated Tom's generosity and admired how he stayed true to his values. As Kindness Day became a tradition, Tom noticed familiar faces returning each month, some of whom expressed how much the cafe meant to them. Tom felt a deep sense of fulfillment, knowing he was making a positive difference. He often thought back to the Andrews family and how they had shown him kindness when he least expected it. During one busy weekend at the café, Tom received an unexpected visitor. It was Mrs. Andrews, along with her now toddling daughter, the little girl he had saved that fateful day at the hotel. The sight of the happy, healthy child brought a wave of emotion over Tom, and he greeted them with a warm hug. Mrs. Andrews expressed her gratitude once again, saying that Tom's Corner had become a favorite place for their family. They sat together, sharing stories and catching up. Mrs. Andrews mentioned how much Tom's story had inspired her and her husband to support others in need. She promised to continue sharing Tom's journey with others, hoping to spread the message of kindness and generosity even further. As the months went by, Tom's life remained a balance between running his cafe and giving back to his community. One evening, Mr. Andrews invited Tom to join him in a new charity initiative focused on supporting young entrepreneurs from disadvantaged backgrounds. Knowing how life-changing such support could be, Tom agreed to be part of the project, eager to help others as he had been helped. Tom's role was to mentor aspiring business owners, sharing his experiences and offering guidance. He met young men and women who reminded him of himself, full of dreams but limited by resources. Tom found joy in helping them, knowing that his own journey had come full circle. He felt grateful for the opportunity to be a part of something meaningful. Through his work with the charity, Tom met many talented individuals, including a young chef named Mia who dreamed of opening her own bakery. Inspired by her passion, Tom decided to collaborate with her, inviting Mia to sell her unique pastries at Tom's Corner. The collaboration was a success, and Mia's creations brought new customers to the cafe. The partnership gave Mia the exposure and support she needed, and Tom was proud to see her succeed. For Tom, this was a small way of giving back, a chance to be the mentor he once needed. The experience strengthened his belief in the power of kindness and community, knowing that one act could change someone's life. One afternoon, a journalist from a national newspaper visited Tom's Corner, interested in writing about his journey. She had heard about his involvement in the charity initiative and his partnership with Mia, and she wanted to share his story with a wider audience. Tom was hesitant at first, but he agreed, hoping his story could inspire others to believe in the power of kindness. The article was published soon after, highlighting Tom's journey from hotel worker to successful cafe owner and community mentor. It described how he had turned an act of kindness into a ripple effect that had impacted countless lives. Tom's Corner saw an influx of visitors from all over, and Tom was both proud and humbled by the response. The success of Tom's Corner and the national recognition had transformed Tom's life, but he remained grounded and grateful. Reflecting on his journey, he often thought about that day at the hotel and how a single moment had led him here. He felt a deep sense of gratitude for the Andrews family, who had believed in him and supported his dreams. Tom continued to stay connected with the family, visiting them occasionally and watching their daughter grow up. Each time they met, they'd reminisce about how fate had brought them together and changed all their lives for the better. For Tom, their bond was a reminder of how kindness could create lasting relationships and open doors to a brighter future. Years later, Tom's Corner remained a cherished community hub, known for its warm atmosphere and inspiring story. Tom had expanded his cafe to include a small library where customers could read, relax, and share their own stories. He continued his work with the charity, mentoring young people and sharing the lessons he'd learned along the way. Looking back, Tom knew he owed much of his success to the moment he'd saved that little girl and the kindness the Andrews family had shown him in return. His life had become a testament to the power of compassion and generosity, proving that a single act of kindness could set off a ripple effect that changed lives. Tom felt grateful for every step of his journey, knowing that he had made a difference and inspired others to believe in the transformative power of kindness.